Desktop environments are a specific category of software that Windows users do not typically think about because Windows ships with a single desktop environment that is built into the operating system itself. On Linux, desktop environments are separate from the underlying operating system, and there are many of them, each with its own design philosophy, each with its own feature set, and each with its own community. In 2026, one specific Linux desktop environment has reached a level of polish, capability, and forward-looking design that, when compared to the current Windows 11 desktop, makes Windows 11 look dated. The specific desktop environment I am talking about is KDE Plasma, in its most recent major release. KDE Plasma has been developed for more than 2 decades by a large international community of contributors. It has, over the last several years, matured to the point where it offers features that Windows does not match, performance that Windows cannot match, and flexibility that is simply not available in any commercial desktop environment. I want to walk you through what KDE Plasma is, what specifically it does better than Windows 11, why this matters, and what the broader implications are for the future of desktop computing. Let me start by describing what a desktop environment is, because Windows users often have not thought about this as a separable concept. A desktop environment is the collection of software that produces the visual interface of a computer, including the window manager that handles application windows, the panel or taskbar that shows running applications and system controls, the application launcher, the file manager, the settings interface, and the various built-in applications that come with the environment. On Windows, these components are built into the operating system and cannot be easily swapped. On macOS, the same is true. On Linux, the desktop environment is a separable component that can be installed, configured, or replaced independently of the underlying operating system. Linux has several major desktop environments. GNOME is the most common, shipping as default on Ubuntu, Fedora, and many other distributions. KDE Plasma is the second most common, shipping as default on several distributions including Kubuntu, OpenSUSE, and KDE Neon, Cinnamon, XFCE Mate, LXQT, and others are also used. Each has its strengths. KDE Plasma, which is the environment I want to focus on, is distinguished by several specific qualities. It is highly configurable, allowing users to customize nearly every aspect of the environment. It is performant, using less memory and CPU than many alternatives. It is feature-rich, including functionality that competing environments typically do not include. And it is actively developed, with frequent releases that bring meaningful improvements. Let me describe what KDE Plasma does better than Windows 11 in specific terms. The first thing is performance. KDE Plasma uses substantially less memory than the Windows 11 desktop. On typical hardware, the Plasma desktop idles at around 400 to 800 megabytes of memory, including the desktop environment itself, a file manager, and the panel. Windows 11 idles at 2 to 3 gigabytes of memory for the equivalent components. The difference is substantial, and it is directly relevant for users with older hardware or for users who want to keep more memory available for their applications. The second thing is flexibility. KDE Plasma can be configured to look and behave in ways that span a wide range of styles. You can configure it to look like a classic Windows desktop, like a macOS desktop, like a Chrome OS desktop, or like any number of custom styles. You can configure the panel to be on any edge of the screen, to have any combination of widgets, and to behave in specific ways. You can configure the window management to use specific behaviors, including tiling, snap, and various gesture-based actions. Windows 11, in comparison, has a fixed set of configurations that cannot be substantially modified without third-party tools. The third thing is the features. KDE Plasma includes features that Windows 11 does not match. Activities, which are a concept that allows users to have multiple virtual workspaces, each with its own configuration of applications and widgets, are more powerful than Windows 11's virtual desktops. Quinn, the window manager, has scripting capabilities that allow users to define specific behaviors for their windows. The Crunner launcher has a broader set of capabilities than Windows 11 Search, including calculator integration, unit conversion, and direct command execution. The Dolphin File Manager has features that Windows Explorer does not match, including split-view navigation, extensive metadata handling, and a more flexible tagging system. The fourth thing is the application integration. Today, applications, of which there are many, work together in coordinated ways. The calendar integrates with the clock, the email client integrates with the contacts. The password manager integrates across applications. The notifications integrate across the system. This level of application integration, while similar to what Apple achieves on macOS, is beyond what Windows 11 offers. The fifth thing is the visual design quality. KDE Plasma's visual design in the current release is polished, modern, and consistent. The animations are smooth without being distracting, the widgets are well designed. The color schemes are attractive and well thought through, the typography is clean. Windows 11's visual design is not bad, but it is less consistent than Plasma's, with Windows still having inherited interfaces from older Windows versions mixed with the newer Fluent design. The sixth thing is the accessibility. KDE Plasma has extensive accessibility features, including high-contrast themes, screen reader integration, keyboard navigation, and various other supports for users with specific needs. Windows 11 has accessibility features as well, but Plasma's are more comprehensive and more customizable for users who have specific requirements. The seventh thing is the lack of advertising and commercial intrusion. KDE Plasma does not show advertisements. It does not suggest paid software. It does not push cloud services. It does not integrate with advertising ecosystems. The desktop is, in this sense, a clean environment that is focused on the user's tasks rather than on the vendor's commercial interests. Windows 11, by contrast, has advertising and commercial integration woven through its interface. Now, why does this matter? It matters because the desktop environment is the primary interface that users interact with throughout the day. The quality of the desktop environment affects the quality of the overall computing experience. A better desktop environment means a more pleasant, more productive, and more capable daily experience. It matters because the existence of KDE Plasma demonstrates that commercial desktop environments are not the limit of what is possible. The specific capabilities that Plasma offers are evidence that desktop computing can be better than what the commercial vendors provide. The gap between what Plasma achieves and what Windows 11 offers is not an indictment of Microsoft's engineers, but it is a demonstration that the commercial constraints within which Microsoft works produce a less capable product than an open-source community has produced. It matters because it gives users a specific option. For users who are dissatisfied with Windows 11's direction, KDE Plasma is available on any Linux distribution as an alternative. The specific migration from Windows 11 to a Linux distribution running Plasma is not trivial, but it is feasible, and the result is a computing experience that many users find superior to what they had on Windows. It matters because it shapes the long-term direction of desktop computing. As KDE Plasma and similar desktop environments continue to improve, the pressure on Windows and Mac OS to keep pace increases. Microsoft and Apple respond to competitive pressure, and the existence of serious competitors produces better outcomes for all users, including those who stay on the commercial platforms. For users who want to try KDE Plasma without making a full commitment, the practical approach is to install a Linux distribution that ships with Plasma in a virtual machine or on a secondary machine. KDE Neon, which is a distribution that ships the latest stable Plasma on top of Ubuntu LTS, is a good starting point for evaluation. Kubuntu is another option. OpenSUSE Tumbleweed with KDE provides a rolling release experience with the latest Plasma features. The evaluation does not take long. An hour or two of use is enough to form an impression of whether Plasma is something you would want to use daily. If the impression is positive, the path to using Plasma full-time is a full Linux installation with Plasma as the desktop environment. If the impression is not positive, other desktop environment or continued use of Windows remain options. Subscribe for the next video, which is a specific walkthrough of KDE Plasma's most distinctive features, with demonstrations of how each is used and what the user-facing benefits are. I will also cover the specific configurations that make Plasma most productive for different use cases, including for developers, writers, creative professionals, and general users. And in the comments, tell me what desktop environment you use and what you think of its current state. The diversity of desktop environments on Linux is one of the things that makes Linux interesting, and the specific preferences of users reveal what matters most to different kinds of computing.